positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You probably wonder why I always say never settle for average. Well, I was taught at a very young age to never settle for average, NSFA. You can pick up a hat on the website, BigHerc916.com. My mom really left an impression on me when it came to school and my grades. And I knew an A was the best. A plus is actually the best of the best. But you get an A minus, you're a B plus, oh man, you're not doing the best you can do. So I always pushed myself and had a very high standard to never settle for average. And so I've always pushed that mind state, and I beat myself up. When I'm painting, I just posted a video about me painting a time lapse. I'm always critiquing myself. What can I do better? How can I make my art, more attractive? Just different things, my colors, my blends, my shading. I'm always pushing myself. And I don't settle for anything. I don't want to settle. I just didn't grow up with that mentality. But, just thinking about like people settling in the programming of people. They have a thing in prison, they call it being institutionalized. And when you're institutionalized, it's when you take prison life to be normal. You get up, wash your face, get dressed, you go to the chow hall, you have breakfast, and you come back, you get ready for work, or you're gonna go to your yard or do what you're gonna do, do your little program. You got a couple hours there, you come back from the yard, or stay at work until lunch call. You could go to lunch, do your thing, whatever you got to do, and then they have another yard. You do your yard, blah 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 blah. People go back to work. Then you have yard recall, and then people getting off work, they come back. Then they have 4 o'clock count, stand-up count all over the nation. They got to count those bodies so that they can make sure those stocks get they dividends. Then you have dinner, chow again, 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30, and then you have yard recall, 8 o'clock, whatever. Come back, people shower, do whatever, exercise, play sports, and then they eat whatever they're gonna eat, or watch TV or whatever, read, and then you do it all over again. And that's every day, over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, every day. That's institutionalized. When that becomes your norm, like you buy into that, you're a convict, you're an inmate, you're working for Unicor, you're working for a job in prison, you're taking it serious. These people have convinced you while you're in prison that job you have is the most important thing. And in your mind, you've made it important because it's all you have. You don't have your family, you don't have your kids, your children around you, your wife, your friends, that's it. So that becomes your life. Maybe you're going to school, whatever it is, but you become institutionalized for that world, that prison world. And you can fight that world as far as, not buying into it, but to a degree you're participating in it because it's part of your survival. Doing what people do in there, the politics, you can't sit here, you can only talk to this guy over here, you can't engage in this. It's a lot of bullshit. it's a lot of people in your business that normally you would never see on the street. There's people trying to tell you about stuff in life and this and that and assert their beliefs on you, and you're like, dude, me and you are the furthest thing from each other possible. But this person has prison credibility. They're, been down a long time, been in this institution, know this person, been in this riot, maybe they stuck this person. So the accolades for this person in prison, in that institutionalized environment, holds esteem. But on the street, this person wouldn't be anybody. They're nobody that you would, because they spent most of their life in prison. Not to say that they couldn't be somebody, but the majority of the time they spent in prison has nobody cares on the street. That stuff doesn't matter in the real world when you got to take care of family and put a roof over your kids' head and do all this other stuff. All those prison accolades is null and void. So, people get institutionalized and then, they get out. And then they got to function in the real world and figure out how to make shit work without the small world they were living in prison, which, your grocery store is right down, walking distance, your kitchen, wherever your chow hall's right down the way, your homie's right upstairs, over here, this, everything's right there. You get on the street, you got to drive. You got to, make an effort to make friends. You got to go to the grocery store over here. You got to take your kids to school. All these different things you got to do. So it's totally different. And then you have people who are, I don't know if you want to call it institutionalized, but they're programmed on the street. They get out, they, Monday through Friday, they go to a 9 to 5. They, get up, maybe try to take the kids to school, do this, go to work, come home, maybe have an hour or so with the kids, talk to the wife, get ready for the next day. And they do that every day. Friday, okay, maybe go out to dinner. Saturday, do some stuff around the house, catch up on family time. Sunday, getting ready for Monday again, another program. No freedom. And then you think about well, why is it set up like that to where you're just go, 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 go. So you can't ever take a step back to look at what's really going on and what really makes you happy. Because the happiness is programmed into, being able to have certain things, material things, but is that necessarily equated with happiness? Because you have a lot of people who work and seem like they have everything and they maybe take their own lives, hurt somebody else, take their lives, they snap, they do all these things. You're like, what's wrong with that person? Why are they angry, or why are they abusive, or why are they unhappy? Why are they doing drugs? Why are they alcoholic? Why are they miserable when it seems like they have the perfect life? They have the same life everybody else has been, programmed to want to strive for, the nice house, the good job, the 2 kids, private school, the beautiful wife, the trophy wife. I mean, nice sports car, family, family vacations. Why are they not happy? Well, maybe they've been institutionalized on the street and don't know it and don't know how to break that to pull away so that they can gather their thoughts. The same way, in prison, I look at I used to work on trying to break away to gather my thoughts. You got to also do it on the streets. You got to pull back sometimes and, what seems like you're missing out on something. Oh, I'm not making money here. Oh, I'm missing out on this. Oh, you're looking at this person. Oh, they're doing more than me. They're getting this deal. They're getting that. They're doing this and that. And I'm not doing this. No, but you're centering yourself. You're recharging your battery. And we got to recharge our batteries, because if we don't, we'll implode. A dude will just lose it one day and have road rage. You see it. People snap, road rage, or, they run somebody off the road, or, go somewhere and there's a trigger and they, go off on their coworkers. Guy, hurts his wife in front of his kids. Why, these are all things like you say, why did that happen? But sometimes you got to pull away, and that pull away, it makes you feel like you're not doing what you should be doing, but that's a program you've been taught to do, which isn't necessarily the best thing for you humanly, for your spiritual growth. And the institutionalism on the street is real. And I see people that are kind of stuck in that. They're doing this almost like I said, the people I see in prison, they're doing the same stuff on the street, and they're not really living. They're like, I don't know, like robots. You know, they're robots. And, you know, my life, you know, it's had this roller coaster ride and uncertainty, but being able to kind of kick back sometimes and gather my thoughts and try to figure out what my next move is, and, you know, meeting new people, you know, exploring what my purpose is, you know, different talents God gave me, whether it's, you know, trying to paint better or build a car, or I don't know, mess with my fish tank, whatever the case may be. I mean, these are things like, I think like, wow, you know, if I was all the way programmed in the matrix, would I even entertain these things, these different projects, these different hobbies, these thoughts that God has put in my mind? And if they weren't put in my mind for a reason, you know, I couldn't entertain them. It's like, you know, writing a script, writing a book. I think, why do I have that ambition if it's not meant to act on it? And they're all positive things. I'm not talking about entertaining stuff that the devil puts in your mind. You know, low frequency, oh, rob this person and hurt this person. I'm not talking about that bullshit. I'm talking about things that will enhance your creativity, your wellness in life, your success in life, your friendships, your interaction with other people. I'm talking about positive things. You know, you're put in a box when you go through like the public education system, or you grow up in certain environments. You're put in a box, and you're supposed to do what everybody else is doing in that box. And for myself, I always felt like the box didn't fit me. I didn't fit in that box. I was always a very outgoing kid, always thought differently, you know, always, you know, wanted to try different things, and you know, whether it was skateboarding, BMXing, you know, sports, or you know, making clothing, drawing, painting, building bicycles. I always wanted to be creative. And creativity is the voice of God coming through us. You know, when you see somebody and you like, they have some, you know, really cool design clothing on, or a car they design, or architecture, or just different things you see, you know, inventions, that's God speaking through all of us. But when you're institutionalized, you can't even explore that because you have no time. You feel like if you do, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is the program. So, you know, I'm just sharing this perception because it's easy to think, oh man, I'm doing this hell of a life, but you're not really even living life like you think life should be lived. I mean, maybe you are, maybe, if you're doing like something that you would be doing, even if you weren't getting paid, I think that's the ultimate life experience. And guys playing golf, but they're getting paid for it. You know, somebody who's, you know, building furniture, or somebody who's working, you know, as a real estate person or engineer, and, you know, they're doing all this stuff. Your work environment's very inviting. You're happy. Then that's great. But I know some people, well, it's not like, you know, we could all have that perfect job or whatever. I'm not saying like, look, man, you know, you got to do what you got to do to take care of your family. There's sacrifice, there's trade-offs. You know, there's people who have to, you know, go out there and work on the road. There's people who got to go out there and, you know, do certain public services. And, you know, some people enjoy doing that. And, you know, I've talked to people and it's like, man, I like riding around in my truck, you know, going to the parks, doing this, doing that. You know, it's a peace of mind for me, and that's great. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, ask yourself, are you doing what you truly want to do, or are you programmed and have you been institutionalized on the street? Because I've seen a lot of guys institutionalized in prison, and that was a scary thing, man. It's scary. It's scary. Like I said, I've seen guys when they get out, they're doing the same kind of routine they were doing in prison. And I'm like, man, you know, it's like it took the soul, you know, it takes your soul. And, you know, even though you're surviving, you're doing what you have to do to take care of things. But, you know, where's that feeding the spirit, that the nutrients, so it can thrive and it can, you know, flourish, and it can really be its God self, you know, it can create. I don't know, it's just something to think about. Are you institutionalized on the street, or are you programmed, or are you free? Are you doing what you want to do? Are you meeting, you know, people who are fulfilling in your life, people who make you feel good? Or maybe you don't like people. I mean, me, I'm a people person. I love meeting people. I love hearing conversations. I learn through people more than I feel I learned through books, because people have lived experiences, and that's not always told in books. And life is always different as being told by the person who's lived it. Certain people could say, oh man, this and that, but you talk to somebody who was there, somebody who's lived through a certain experience, and you're always going to get something different. So I really enjoy talking to people and exchanging that energy and feeling like I'm a free spirit, you know. And, you know, one of the trade-offs with that is, like I said, is, you know, not doing the norm, which makes you feel sometime, are you doing the right thing? But we've been programmed to do certain things, and it's such a strong program, that whole, you know, going through the educational system and then that structure and going to a job and doing that is so embedded, it's so magnified, that once you question it, it makes you question yourself. Something to think about. That's no different than, like, you know, the programming with the division, with the racism and all this stuff just, you know, they keep throwing it at you to try to get your mind locked into a certain frequency. But it's up to us to break it. It's up to us to learn from each other, communicate, conversate, you know, sometimes take a step back. Are we happy? Do we need to decompress? Do we need to step away, recharge our batteries, find happiness? You know, you're not necessarily stuck with anything or anybody. You know, people, you know, get in situations, they complain, but they keep going. I'm like, dude, you were complaining about this 5 years. Why are you still doing it? You know, or this person gets on my nerves, but you're still with them and you smile. It's like, is that institutionalized? Because you know, if you already been with this person 4 or 5 years, so you feel like you're stuck, and there's a billion people in the world. Somebody's out there waiting to make you happy. Some opportunities out there to make you happy. I remember a friend told me about a guy he met that was homeless in Las Vegas. But he said this guy looked cleaner than the other homeless people. And he said he approached the guy. He had a grocery store basket cart, and he said, man, he said, you don't look like your typical homeless person, man. You're well shaved. Your basket's clean, your stuff is not dirty. And he says, you know, I used to be a doctor. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, you know, a doctor, man, doctor, surgeon, you know, high stress, you know, family, nice house, you know, kids and school, blah, 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 beautiful wife, all this, but he was just stressed out. He was stressed out to the point where he felt like, you know, he was going to implode. And so he decided just to kind of like take off. And he didn't really explain how his family was being taken care of. I guess they had money, but he had a bank account. He had an ATM card. He would, you know, when he wanted to go stay at a hotel, shower, clean up. He took care of himself. He was homeless, but he would just like kind of like live freely and just, he had enough money, maybe through investment stocks or whatever, that his account always had something in there and he could buy food and stuff. So he wasn't eating off the ground. He wasn't a drug addict or anything like that, but he had freedom. And he said, man, you know, being able to kind of like not worry about all those responsibilities, it allowed me to kind of reclaim my sanity. And, you know, he walked away from a thriving career. And it just makes you wonder, like, the program. I mean, this guy went to, you know, medical school, you know, years and years of education, built up this knowledge, and then to keep himself from losing it, walked away from all that and decided to be homeless. But he wasn't really homeless, but he was living homeless, living on the streets free. You know, people left him alone. He talked to a lot of people, you know, just kind of wandered around, didn't have any major responsibilities. Kind of makes you wonder, you know, about the program, the institutionalized program that they try to, you know, embed in us from the time we're kids. You know, the stuff that they're trying to feed you as far as information so that you will not question the program. Something to think about, man. Go to BigHerc916.com, pick up some merch, share the channel.
To pick up a limited edition GTA poster signed by me for $10, or with your purchase of a Wig Splitter Porsche t-shirt, I'll throw in a free poster. Coming. I gotta hurry up and wash my ass. Go to BigHerc916.com, pick you up a bar of soap, and wash your ass, or else you're gonna be under arrest too. Oh shit.
Officially, I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.